So, on the path to building $1 million calligraphy education business, I had to focus on one thing. And unfortunately, I kept sabotaging myself in a really sneaky way. So, I'm going to tell you all about it so you don't continue to do the same thing. Welcome back to Creative Business Real Talk. I'm Sheena, corporate lawyer turned calligrapher and teacher, and I tell you what it really takes to build a successful creative business. So, in this episode, I'm going to do three things. Part one, I'm going to break down the sales numbers from my $1 million years, like the actual amount of courses I had to sell, the conversion rates that I had to aim for, so you can see, what I really had to focus on. Part two, I'm going to pull out the one big lesson for creative business owners who want to grow. So you stop sabotaging yourself. And it's not about working more, it's about what you choose to focus on. And then part three, I'm going to make it real concrete by giving an actual example using calligraphers and giving a step by step roadmap to increase profitability by focusing on one thing. All right. So let's get into it. Okay. Part one, how does one course add up to $1 million in annual revenue? So, to back it up a little bit, in 2020, 2021, I was selling a $500 full support calligraphy program. And my mentor at the time told me something kind of bananas. I will never forget it. She said, "Oh, to reach $1 million in sales a year, easy. All you have to do is sell 2,000 courses a year at $500 each." Now, let me break this down a little bit further for you. I would say maybe I sold 500 courses in like bigger launches a few times a year. So that leaves 1,500 courses sold through my evergreen automated daily sales system. I referred to this in previous episodes. It's basically what I paid a lot of money to learn how to do. It really up-leveled my business. In a nutshell, I created, and this is still going on in my business, so you can check it out, but I created a really valuable free training that got people learning, inspired, like really, caused some mind shifts in, oh, this is what it takes to become a calligrapher or become a pro calligrapher. And some of those people who watched the free training would decide to continue learning with me and buy my courses. That's the sales system in a nutshell. A little bit more to it, obviously, but for these purposes, you understand, through that system, I had to sell 1,500 a year to make $1 million in annual sales, which meant 125 per month, which meant four sales a day. So $500 course, four sales a day. That was my goal. And it's not like I, was supposed to immediately reach that. It felt really out of reach at first, but I just kind of went towards it and eventually got to one sale a day. Oh my God. And then it got to two sales a day, right? Three sales a day. What that meant on a more like a conversion rate level, right? If I'm going to make four sales a day through this automated sales system, that means that I needed to get 200 people a day into that sales system, assuming a 2% conversion rate. So 200 people go in, 2% of those people decide, like, okay, cool, I've learned so much with you, Sheena. I'm going to purchase your courses. That would lead to four sales a day. Okay. Now, that brings us to that is the thing. If I was going to reach my goal of making $1 million in sales, I had to focus, laser focus on getting those 200 people a day to sign up for my free training. A lot of it was ads. A lot of it was my Instagram, my email list, right? I had all these channels, but it had to be the same goal, getting them to sign up for this training. And let me tell you, this got boring. This is the part where I kept sabotaging because my brain just did not want to focus on that one thing. It wanted to do a million other things. Like, oh my God, maybe I'll create a new YouTube series and write a blog post and just squirrel, right? And just to back up a little bit, this doesn't come out of nowhere, right? Before I really kind of focused in on this sales system, I was kind of doing things much more willy-nilly in my business. I was kind of winging it, to be honest. I was like creating YouTube videos and blog posts, and I was selling all kinds of things, greeting cards, logos, um, worksheets. I was doing all sorts of client projects. A few times a year, I would sell my calligraphy course, but it was much more creatively unbounded. I would wake up in the morning and just be like, what do I talk about today? It was much more free, sometimes kind of unmotivating because it was so willy-nilly, but it was also way less profitable because I had like no system, no discipline, right? During the whole process of when I was learning how to really uplevel my business, I had to learn how to stay on message and really build up that discipline of, okay, how do I come up with creative new ways to point people towards my free training and my course every single day? How do I talk to people in the DMs, in my emails, right? In Instagram comments. How do I super really focus on what do my customers really want? What are they looking for? What do they desire? What do they struggle with? What's holding them back, right? And the result is that I was really able to hone my selling ability, my ability to really sell like with my whole chest and my discipline. But here's where we get to part 2, the lesson. It was not easy, right? And I used to think that that squirrel part of my brain, this, oh my God, I'm just so bored of talking about the same thing over and over. I used to think it was just because, oh, I'm a creative person. I'm interested in so many things. And yes, that is definitely part of it. But if I really dug deeper, what was also underneath my constant, like, squirrel focusing on different things was fear. Let me explain. The fear was, oh my God, if I commit to really selling this one thing, if I put my whole heart into it and it doesn't work and I fail, that would be so hard. That would be so devastating. It's much easier for me to like start on a new project, right? Do that blog post that maybe doesn't have so much consequences rather than okay, I'm going to reach out to people who have expressed interest in the DMs and I'm going to have conversations with them, hopefully to kind of lead them to sign up for my free training. That is more uncomfortable because rejection, a lot of those people never responded to me, right? Ghosted or responded and said, like, oh, I'm not really that interested, or responded with some interest, but they wouldn't really follow through. It was an exercise in, okay, how do I keep showing up and pointing people towards the same thing, even though I am getting rejected and even though there's like more on the line? So once I realized that fear, it was much easier for me to go like, oh, aha, okay. This squirrel thing isn't just my brain being, creative and whimsical. There's a real fear under there. Now that I see that, now I can decide to really commit. So that's the lesson that I want to bring to you if you are trying to grow your creative business. You probably, if you're running a creative business, have like a million things on your to-do list. What are the tasks that will actually move the needle? What's the difficult stuff that you are avoiding by trying to do everything else? That frankly is kind of easier, right? Deciding, changing up your website colors, fiddling with your, photos, fiddling with Pinterest. That is easier than doing the really difficult work of probably the sales stuff, right? Pitching yourself, going to networking events, writing that email, introducing yourself, walking into stores saying, hey, I'm a calligrapher, like asking your audience to actually buy from you. That is the stuff that is really uncomfortable. But look, unfortunately, the stuff that you're afraid of is the key to your growth. So that's what I want you to take away is, hey, what is on my list that's really gonna make a difference here? And I'm avoiding it. So we've come now to part 3, and I'm gonna bring this home in a really concrete way. Calligraphers, pay attention because I am going to give you an actual simple roadmap to increase profitability in your business. Okay. So we're talking high paying calligraphy jobs here. Now, real quick, before I get into the roadmap, what makes certain calligraphy skills and services higher paying? Long and short, it's the stuff that is harder to do, the skills that are more difficult to master, right? That's the stuff that generally is going to command higher prices. So, for example, if you happen to have just breathtakingly beautiful calligraphy, so perfect, so exquisite, I'm thinking Suzanne Cunningham here, right? Then you can charge a premium price. Like even for envelopes, forget $5 an envelope. I've seen calligraphers charge 10, 15, $20 per envelope, and certain clients are willing to pay that because the calligraphy is so exquisite. Now, that is difficult, right? Like I don't have that. So the vast majority of people do not have that. But you see where I'm going, right? Let's kind of look at some other skills here. Maybe like bigger, more complex signage, seating charts, maybe even family trees, stuff that is just like harder to put together. There's a lot of moving pieces. You can charge a lot more for those. Teaching calligraphy, but teaching calligraphy well. That's a skill that is a separate skill from calligraphy that you would need to work on and hone so that you continue to attract in students and get the volume of students that really leads to more profitability in teaching. Live calligraphy and engraving and other kinds of live calligraphy, whether it's hot foiling, bottle painting, wood burning, right? More difficult because you are doing it right there in front of the customer. There's no erase button. You got to really learn how to do it well and efficiently and hone your professional persona, right? As a live calligrapher. Digital calligraphy or calligraphy digitization, which kind of leads into more graphic design type stuff, logos, branding, even digitized signage and menus for certain like high profile events. Those can pay really well, but you got to learn that skill of digitization, right? And then, final thing that I have on my list, I'm sure there are some others out there, but custom wedding invitations. I have students who are making really good money doing that, but you got to learn how to, do the graphic design stuff, the Adobe Creative Suite, laying out all the invitations, but also think about paper and how to get this printed and assembled and right. But again, you can charge a lot for custom wedding invitations. So, out of all of those, different pathways that I've listed, if your goal with your calligraphy business is to make money, more of it and more quickly, choose one, focus on it, get really clear on what actions you need to take to actually move forward. So, as promised, I'm going to give you a really simplified, but this is really all you need pathway for, let's just take live calligraphy engraving, for example. Say you that's the path you choose and you decide, okay, what are the actions that matter? How can I stay laser focused on this so I increase my profitability? So, number 1, obviously, you got to learn how to engrave, right? But you got to learn how to engrave with efficiency in mind, consistency in mind. The fastest way to do this is to learn from someone. I have a course, Beginner's Guide to Calligraphy Engraving. I will tell you how you can get 50% off of it in a little bit. Stay till the end. But whatever, if you buy a course, or you look up YouTube videos, learn from someone, right? Don't reinvent the wheel. And then you got to practice, but efficiently so that you are really heading towards, okay, if I'm in front of people at a department store and there's a line, how can I be really efficient and consistent with my calligraphy? Okay. That's step 1. Step 2, you want to put together a portfolio to showcase your engraving work. And this does not have to be paid work. You can create your own portfolio pieces, use perfume bottles, candles, liquor bottles, right? And just take clear, beautiful photos. You can do it with an iPhone. 3, you want to determine your pricing, your kind of live calligraphy and engraving package, right? Do you have a minimum number of hours? Is travel included? What will kind of go into an invoice and a contract, right? Because I'm thinking about that. Step 4, this is the hardest part and where most people will get stuck, is you gotta actually pitch yourself and let people know that this is what you do and just ask to get hired over and over again. And you will get rejected, which is why this is hard, but this is what moves the needle. So, pitching yourself too. department stores, luxury boutiques, wine shops, the local gift shop, maybe, or flower shop, candle shop, conferences, event centers, venues. There are agencies that focus on brand activations and hire calligraphers. So it's not crazy complex, but it is hard because this is the step where you're putting yourself out there and you're going to get ghosted and you're going to hear no and you're going to get rejected. But I have had students literally take themselves to the local mall and say, I'm going to talk to 10 different people today. And they handed out a card with their website or just a sample of their calligraphy. And that was what they were going to do that day. Final step here, number 5, is building up the SEO on your website so that it's hyper local and specific and targeted. So people searching for this kind of thing will eventually start to find you through your website. So, for example, I live in the Los Angeles area, really making sure that your website gets featured for searches like Los Angeles live calligrapher, event calligrapher, live calligraphy engraving, Los Angeles brand activations, that kind of thing, so that eventually you will get some people finding you through that. But the hardest thing, and the action that you do every single day that's really going to get you actual paying clients, is number 4, pitching yourself, making those connections, telling people, hey, I do this. Do you know anyone who might be interested in hiring me for this? And that's why, right? The lesson that I shared earlier of like getting that discipline, getting that focus because you have this goal in mind, that's a skill that you can hone. And understanding why you might shy away, right? And why your brain might squirrel and want to focus on other things, that is so, so, so helpful to get you over that and get you refocused on what really moves the needle. So hopefully that helps you, that big lesson, right? Even if your goal isn't to build $1 million online course business, you can take from it, okay, how do I bring this lesson into my own business? And how do I make myself a really simple roadmap and focus on the stuff that matter? Now, before I close out, I told you I was going to tell you about my calligraphy beginner's guide to calligraphy engraving course, how you can get 50% off of it. So what I'm doing is a 5 days of deals for Black Friday 2025. So starting November 24th, 2025, every single day for 5 days, I'm dropping a deal on my courses that really help you up your calligraphy skills. So stuff like digitizing your calligraphy, how to do that, engraving on all kinds of different surfaces, teaching calligraphy workshops with the actual worksheet templates so you can build your own workbook. All of that, every single day, a new deal up to 50% off. Make sure to sign up for the waitlist at crookedcalligraphy.com/deals so that you hear about it. I'll email you. Like I said, every deal is going to last for only 24 hours. So get an idea of what you want and make sure I'll send email reminders, but make sure you grab that deal on that day. This is what I'm doing for Black Friday 2025. It's kind of exciting. It's something new I'm trying. And I hope it, gets you guys some of those calligraphy skills that you want to focus on so that you can move towards higher profitability. Okay. So that's my episode. Make sure you subscribe so you don't miss the next episode. I'm going to continue to bring you lessons from my 10 years of business experience building a multi-million-dollar creative business and how it applies to you and your business so you can put it into action and just grow as a business person and a person. All right. See you in the next one.